You wake up at 5 in the morning. Before the sun touches the horizon, your alarm has become your master and you've become its servant. You rush through your day exchanging hours of your life for a paycheck that never seems enough. Your inbox never empties. Your to-do list never shrinks. You climb one rung of the ladder only to realize there are infinite rungs above you and your arms are already tired. Yet you keep climbing because that's what you've been told to do. That's what society screams at you from every direction. Get the job, get the promotion, get the salary, get the status. But where is the peace? Where is the contentment? Where is the meaning? You've been sold a lie and I'm here to tell you the truth. The lie is simple but destructive. If you chase enough jobs, earn enough money, achieve enough status, you will finally be at peace. You will finally be happy. You will finally matter. But look around. Look at the people who have achieved these things. Are they peaceful? Are they at rest? Or are they anxious, stressed, competing with others, always looking over their shoulder, always worried that someone younger and hungrier will take their position? The proof is in the reality you see every single day. The pursuit of jobs and money has never brought lasting peace to anyone. Let me tell you what I know with absolute certainty. Chasing jobs is a trap. It's a hamster wheel that spins faster and faster and you're running inside it thinking you're getting somewhere, but you're standing in the same place. The wheel might get faster. You might get higher salaries. You might get better titles, but the wheel is still just a wheel and you're still just running. And when you finally stop, whether it's due to age, illness, or exhaustion, you'll look back and realize that all that running didn't take you anywhere real. This is not pessimism. This is not defeatism. This is clarity. And clarity is the first step toward liberation. The reality of the job chase. We live in a world obsessed with employment. From the moment you're a child, you're asked, what do you want to be when you grow up? Not what kind of person do you want to become? Not what legacy do you want to leave? But what job do you want to have? Your entire education system is designed to funnel you into a job market. Your parents push you toward jobs that are secure or prestigious. Your society measures your worth by your job title and your paycheck. Success is defined as climbing the corporate ladder. Achievement is measured by how many zeros are in your bank account. But here's the problem with this approach. It treats your life as a means to an end rather than as an end in itself. Your life becomes a tool for earning money, and money becomes the goal. But money is just a tool too. It's a means to an end, not an end in itself. And when you've confused the means with the end, you've already lost. Think about the person who gets the promotion they've been working toward for years. For a moment, maybe a week, maybe a month, they feel satisfied. They feel successful. But then inevitably they start looking at the next position. There's another rung on the ladder. There's another goal just out of reach. The satisfaction fades, because satisfaction based on achievement is temporary by nature. Achievement is a moving target. There will always be someone richer, someone with a bigger title, someone with more prestige. If you base your peace on outrunning others, you will never be at peace. The job market also demands something from you that is increasingly difficult to give. Your your time, your energy, your attention, your mental space, it all gets consumed. You bring work home with you, not just in your briefcase but in your mind. You check your email on weekends. You answer calls during family dinner. Your mind is never fully present anywhere because it's always partially at work. And gradually you lose yourself, the person you were with your own dreams, your own interests, your own depth, gets buried under job responsibility and career ambition. I've seen it countless times. A young person with fire in their eyes, with genuine curiosity about the world, with real talents and gifts, gets sucked into the job machine. 10 years later, they're a shell of themselves. They have a nice car and a nice house and a nice title, but they have no joy. They have no passion. They have no sense of purpose. They're successful by every measure that society uses, but they're empty inside. What are you really looking for when you're chasing these jobs? If you're honest with yourself, you'll realize it's not really the job you want. It's not really the money. It's not even really the status, though we tell ourselves it is. What you're really seeking is peace. Peace of mind, peace in your heart. The feeling that your life matters, the feeling that you're doing something significant, the feeling that you belong, that you contribute, that you're valued. These are legitimate desires. There's nothing wrong with wanting peace and meaning. The problem is that you've been looking for them in the wrong place. You've been looking for them in a paycheck, And a paycheck can never deliver these things. A paycheck can buy you comfort. It can buy you security. It can buy you comfort, but it cannot buy you peace. It cannot buy you meaning. It cannot buy you the sense that your life has been worth. True peace comes from knowing that you're living in alignment with your values. It comes from knowing that you're contributing something real to the world. It comes from understanding your purpose and dedicating yourself to it. It comes from relationships that matter, from people who matter, from activities that feed your soul. It comes from integrity, from being the same person on the inside as you are on the outside. It comes from knowing that you're not just existing, but you're actually living. This kind of peace cannot be given to you by a job title. It cannot be purchased with a salary. It can only be built by you from the inside out, through your own choices and your own commitment to something larger than yourself. Purpose is not a job title. It's not a career path. It's not something you find in a job description. Purpose is a deep understanding of why you're here, what you have to offer, and how you can make a difference in the world around you. It's personal. It's meaningful. It's something that pulls you forward, not because you have to, but because you want to. Purpose starts with self-knowledge. It starts with asking yourself some hard questions and being willing to answer them honestly. What are the things you care about most deeply? What makes you angry? What injustices in the world disturb you? What gifts and talents do you have? What activities make you lose track of time because you're so engaged in them? What would you do even if no one paid you to do it? What legacy do you want to leave behind? These questions point toward your purpose. They're not about money or status. They're about meaning. And when you start to clarify these things, when you start to understand what actually matters to you, something shifts inside you. You stop looking for validation from external sources. You stop measuring yourself against others. You stop asking, will this get me ahead? And start asking, does this align with who I am and what I believe in? When you're living with purpose, you have a compass. You know which way is north. You can navigate through life's complexities and confusions because you have an internal reference point. You're not blown around by every wind that comes along. You're not destabilized by what other people think or what society expects. You're grounded in something real. And here's what's remarkable. When you're living with purpose, the things you actually need, the stability, the respect, the resources tend to come, not because you're chasing them, but because they're a natural byproduct of being genuinely engaged in meaningful work. People respect those who stand for something. Opportunities open up for those who are clear about what they're doing and why. Resources flow toward those who are solving real problems and meeting real needs. Let me be very clear about something. I'm not telling you to quit your job tomorrow. I'm not telling you that having a job is wrong. I'm not telling you that earning money is sinful or base or beneath you. That's not what I'm saying at all. Work is part of life. Employment is often necessary. Money is a tool that we need. What I'm telling you is this. Don't make your job the center of your life. Don't make your career your identity. Don't sacrifice your purpose on the altar of employment. Your job should support your purpose, not replace. Your work should be an expression of your values and your gifts, not a distraction from them. There's a massive difference between having a job and having a calling. A job is something you do for money. A calling is something you do because it matters. A job can be anything. A calling is specific to who you are. A job provides income. A calling provides meaning. You can work for many different employers throughout your life, but your calling, your purpose, that's yours alone and it stays with you. The person who has a job but no purpose is always anxious. They're worried about job security, about being passed over, about someone else getting the promotion. But the person who has a purpose, that person has a foundation that no job can shake. Even if they lose their job, they know who they are and what they're about. They can find another job. They can move forward. They're not destroyed by circumstances because they're not dependent on circumstances for their identity. When you have a purpose, you have direction. You have something to wake up for that's bigger than a paycheck. You have a reason to develop yourself, to grow, to learn, to become better. Not because your job requires it, but because your purpose demands it. And when you're growing and developing, when you're engaged in something meaningful, that's when you feel most alive. That's when you feel most human. Building purpose is not complicated, but it does require honesty and courage. It requires you to stop listening to everyone else's voice for a moment and listen to your own. It requires you to ask yourself hard questions and refuse to accept easy answers. Start by looking at your life. Look at the things you do when no one is watching, when no one is paying you, when no one is judging you. What brings you joy? What problems in the world bother you so much that you can't ignore them? What conversations energize you? What would you pursue even if you knew you'd never make money from it? Pay attention to these things. They're pointing towards your purpose. Next, look at your gifts. What you naturally good at? What have people always come to you for? What talents do you have that feel effortless? Don't be humble here. Don't minimize what you have. Look honestly at what you're good at. And then ask yourself, how could these gifts be used to serve others? How could they make a difference? Then look at the intersection of your passion and your gift. The things you care about plus the things you're good at. That's where your purpose lives. That's where you should be building your life. That's where you'll find the peace you're looking for. Once you've started to clarify your purpose, the next step is to align your life with it. This might mean changing your job. It might mean changing your employer. It might mean starting something new. It might mean leaving something behind. But whatever it means for you specifically, the direction is clear. Move toward alignment with your purpose, not away from it. This doesn't happen overnight. But every choice you make in the direction of your purpose moves you closer to peace. Every choice you make away from your purpose, even if it pays more or looks better on paper, moves you further away from peace. Over time, these choices compound. 5 years of choosing alignment versus 5 years of choosing misalignment. The difference is not just in your bank account, but in your soul. When you stop chasing jobs and start building purpose, something remarkable happens. You stop living reactively and start living intentionally. You're no longer just responding to what life throws at you. You're not just taking whatever job is offered or climbing whatever ladder is in front of you. You're making conscious choices based on your values and your vision. Living intentionally is peaceful. When you know why you're doing something, when you've chosen it consciously, even difficult work feels different. Even challenges feel different. You're not resentful because you're not being forced. You're not exhausted because you're not struggling against yourself. You're aligned, and alignment brings peace. Think about what it feels like when you're doing something you actually believe in, something that matters to you. The time passes differently. Your energy is different. You're not watching the clock. You're not just trying to get through the day. You're engaged. You're alive. This is what work feels like when it's connected to your purpose. Compare this to working a job that you've chosen solely for the money or the status. You're miserable. You're resentful. You're dragging yourself to work every morning. You're counting the hours until you can leave. You're spending your life waiting for your life to begin. This is not a way to live. This is a slow death. The choice is yours. You can continue chasing jobs, continue playing a game where you'll never win because the goalposts keep moving. Or you can stop, take a breath, look inward, and ask yourself what you're really here to do. What difference can you make? What gifts do you have to offer? What world do you want to help create? These questions are uncomfortable. They demand honesty, demand that you go against the tide of what everyone else is doing. But they're also liberating, because once you answer them, once you start to build your life around purpose instead of paychecks, you've taken the first real step toward peace. Our culture has a very narrow definition of success. It's measured in money, status, and power. It's measured in job titles and salaries and possessions. It's measured externally by how you compare to others. This definition of success is poisonous because it's never satisfied. No matter what you achieve, there's always someone with more, someone with a better title, someone with more status. But what if you redefine success? What if success meant living in alignment with your values? What if it meant waking up and knowing that today you're going to spend your time on things that matter to you? What if it meant having relationships that are real and deep and meaningful? What if it meant being able to look at yourself in the mirror and respect the person looking back? What if it meant knowing that you've used your gifts and your time in a way that's made a difference? This kind of success is available to you right now. You don't need to wait for a promotion or a bigger paycheck. You don't need to achieve some external milestone. You can start building this kind of success today by making one choice, by taking one step toward alignment with your purpose. And here's the beautiful irony. When you stop chasing the conventional definition of success and start building the real kind, the conventional kind often follows anyway. When you're genuinely engaged in meaningful work, when you're using your gifts in alignment with your purpose, people notice, opportunities come, resources flow, not because you're trying to get them, but because you're creating real value. The universe rewards those who are clear about their purpose and committed to it, but that's not why you do it. That's just a bonus. The real reward is the peace that comes from knowing you're living the right life, not just a successful life. From knowing you're being true to yourself, from knowing that when your time comes to leave this world, you'll have lived a life that matters. The cost of not changing. I want you to imagine something. Imagine yourself 20 years from now. You spent those 20 years doing what you're doing now, chasing jobs, climbing the ladder, trying to earn more, trying to achieve more status. You've succeeded by conventional measures. You have the money, you have the title, you have the respect of the professional world. But what else do you have? What you have in terms of relationships? Are the people you love close to you, or are they distant because you've been so focused on work? What you have in terms of passion and engagement? Can you name something you're genuinely excited about, or has work drained the life out of you? What you have in terms of integrity? Are you living in a way that's consistent with your deepest values? Or have you compromised so much that you're not sure what your values even are anymore? Now imagine the alternative. Imagine yourself 20 years from now. But this time you made different choices. You looked inward. You clarified your purpose. You made choices to align your life with what actually mattered to you. You may not have as much money as in the first scenario. You may not have the fancy job title, but you have something else. You have peace. You have relationships that matter. You have work that feels meaningful. You have integrity. You have the knowledge that you've spent your time on things that matter, with people who matter. Which version of yourself would you rather be? The cost of not changing, of continuing on the path you're on, of continuing to chase jobs instead of building purpose, is your life itself. Not your whole life necessarily, but the best parts of it, the parts that make life worth living. The years you could have spent with people you love, the potential that could have been developed, the difference you could have made, the peace you could have had. This is not a small cost. This is everything. Making this shift, moving from chasing jobs to building purpose, requires courage. It requires you to go against everything you've been told. It requires you to trust yourself when the whole world is telling you to distrust yourself and follow the prescribed path. It requires you to be willing to look foolish in the eyes of people who have accepted the conventional definition of success. It requires you to let go of some things. Let go of the need for approval from people whose approval doesn't matter. Let go of the comparison game. Let go of the assumption that you know what's best for you based on what worked for someone else. Let go of the fear that you'll be left behind if you don't keep up with everyone else. And it requires you to be honest. Honest with yourself about what you actually want. Honest about your gifts and your limitations. Honest about your values and whether your life is reflecting them. Honest about whether you're living your life or someone else's version of what your life should be. This courage doesn't mean you won't be afraid. You will be. You'll be afraid of making the wrong choice. You'll be afraid of losing security. You'll be afraid of what others will think. You'll be afraid of disappointing people. But courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is moving forward in the direction of your purpose even when you're afraid. And when you do this, when you summon the courage to align your life with your purpose, something remarkable happens. The fear doesn't go away, but it becomes manageable. It becomes smaller than your conviction that you're doing the right thing. It becomes less important than the peace that comes from living authentically. Here's something I want you to understand deeply. Your talents, your passions, your abilities, these are not accidents. You weren't given these gifts randomly. You were given the gifts that the world needs you to give. You are equipped with what you need to fulfill your purpose. When you ignore your gifts, when you don't use them, when you suppress them in order to chase a job that has nothing to do with who you are, you're not just wasting your potential, you're depriving the world of something it needs. Think about that. Your existence is not accidental. Your specific combination of talents and passions and abilities is not random. You have something unique to offer. When you build your life around discovering and developing these gifts, when you dedicate yourself to using them in service of something larger than yourself, you're doing what you were meant to do. You're fulfilling your purpose. And this is where real peace comes from. Not from the external validation of a job title, but from the internal knowledge that you're using what you've been given in a way that matters, that you're not wasting your potential, that you're not failing yourself or the world. This is the peace that no paycheck can buy. The world will constantly try to pull you off course. Your family might not understand why you're making different choices. Your friends might question whether you're making a mistake. Your society will keep pushing you toward the conventional definition of success. There will be moments of doubt. There will be times when you look at what you're doing and wonder if you've made a terrible error. These moments are normal. They're part of the process, but they're not a sign that you should give up. They're a sign that you're doing something difficult, something real, something that matters. If it were easy, everyone would do it, but most people don't. Most people follow the path laid out for them and never question it. Most people spend their lives in service to something they don't believe in and then wonder why they're not at peace. You have the opportunity to be different. You have the opportunity to be intentional about your life, to make conscious choices, to align your days with your values, to build a life that's uniquely yours, not a copy of what someone else has done. This requires vigilance. It requires that you constantly check in with yourself and ask, is this aligned with my purpose? Is this where I should be putting my energy? Is this a choice I've made consciously, or have I just been swept along by the current? These questions are your anchor. They keep you grounded when the world is trying to push you in other directions. They keep you connected to what matters. One of the things that happens when you start living with purpose is that you find your people. You find others who are also building their lives around meaning rather than money, around contribution rather than consumption. These people become your support system. They understand what you're doing in a way that your old friends might not. They encourage you when you doubt yourself. They celebrate with you when you make progress. This community is essential. You cannot build a purposeful life in isolation. You need people who get it. You need mentors who have gone before you. You need peers who are on the journey with you. You need to know that you're not alone, that others have made this choice and are living differently because of it. Seek out these people, build relationships with them, learn from them, support them as they support you. This is one of the great gifts of choosing purpose over career. You get to be part of a community of people who are actually living, not just exist. I want you to know something with absolute certainty. The peace you're looking for, the peace you've been trying to buy with promotions and paychecks, is available to you right now. It's not waiting for you to achieve some external goal. It's not waiting for you to get the next job or reach the next salary milestone. It's waiting for you to make a choice, to decide that you're going to live intentionally, to decide that you're going to align your life with your purpose, to decide that you're going to honor your gifts and use them in service of something meaningful. This choice is within your power. No one else can make it for you. No one else can prevent you from making it. It's entirely yours. The peace you want lives in that. It lives in the commitment you make to yourself to live authentically. It lives in the daily decisions to do work that matters, to spend time with people who matter, to build a life that's a true reflection of who you are. Peace is not a destination you arrive at after you've achieved enough. Peace is a way of living. It's an orientation toward life. It's something you build through your choices and your commitment to what matters. And it's available to you today, right now, in this moment. All you have to do is choose.